Lyon Otto. Gary, we are in season 3, and I can't believe it. We're in episode 7. It just goes so fast with these 3 questions, but they're so important for people to discuss digital intelligence like this. Wouldn't you agree, Gary?
Oh, I do. And the thing is, it's so hard to even know the questions because you're dealing with something that's completely new to humanity. Even the people who are involved in the advanced people who are actually designing the digital intelligence world have can't really know exactly where this is going to go. They can be suspect, and I think they just go all out because competition demands that they compete, that they go all out. Otherwise, China's going to get ahead of us, or some other tech company is going to beat out this one. It's the ultimate expression of competition, more so than any other way because it's happened so fast. And we're seeing as we ChatGPT and Grok and all these other versions compete on a regular basis. They change weekly, and it's just changing so fast.
It's changing so fast, and you really have to be up with it, and you got to not give up either, because at times digital intelligence can really frustrate you. Other times it's the greatest thing since
Yeah.
whatever, but that's technology, right, Gary? It
Yeah.
doesn't always progress at the way we want it to progress.
What's happening, we're finding that the software firms are starting to have problems competing because what AI or DI, as we call it, is they are actually writing their own software. And that's the whole key of intelligence, right? When we think as humans, well, we rewrite our software as we learn things.
Right.
And they're doing it at a pace that we can't keep up with.
Exactly. So what does the ascension of complexity mean, Gary?
That's what we're really talking about here. We talked about in the book, we go into how I go back all the way to the history of this formation of the earth, and I call it geological complexity as the earth formed and the moon came out of that. Then I go into biological complexity, which started off with single cell bacteria, basically, and that evolved over time to create organisms that had photosynthesis and created oxygen in the atmosphere, because the original atmosphere had no free oxygen. And then eventually that brought in life, and then you finally got into multi-cell, to more complex cells, and then you got into multi-cells, and then finally you start to get into, eventually you got to the point where we actually had, primates and humanity. So we're talking about, that was a 4.5 billion year process. Now now we've changed so fast. We've started to develop society. So as societal complexity, and societal complexity is basically we started to form organizations, towns, then countries, and wars and everything else that goes with competition there. And then we came into what I call intellectual complexity, which intellectual complexity is the I use the Industrial Revolution as an example for that, where that became the dominant form of increase in complexity. And then we got into the digital age, and we have digital complexity, and we know how that's going. We have Moore's law, where every year and a half, the computer chip would basically double in capability, and you do that long enough, and we're still doing it. Now we're getting into quantum computing and things like that we haven't even done yet, and that's still going to take it the next step. So the question is, how far does this go? It's like we're doubling, and as we know what's happened, we just mentioned how fast the competition among the AI, different AI or DI units are, and that competition just keeps on going. Now the thing is, where does this go? It's got to the point where we can double in shorter and shorter periods of time, this complexity. And how far can it go? It can't, you go out 100 years and the whole world would be unrecognizable. And that's only 100 years, which is a speck of time. I mean, humanity only has developed societies 10,000 years ago. So that's 10,000 years. If you put it on the history of the earth, which is 4.6 billion years old, is equivalent to a 24-hour clock. That's like 17 seconds before midnight on the 24-hour clock. And that's what's happened in the last 10,000 years. And look how we've transformed the earth in that period of time. At now, we're transforming things so quickly, it's unimaginable. Does this go? Where does the train come off the tracks? I mean, it's just how fast can it come? We're going to double every 10 minutes. I mean, it's almost to that kind of crazy idea. I don't know where this goes. I'm sure that other intelligence beings elsewhere in the universe have encountered this. I'm thinking it's probably, and the point is, where did they go? What happens with a million or a billion years ahead of where we are? I know that that's the case many places across the universe. So the question is, how does that happen? And if it does happen, in other words, it's unanswerable at this point where we are today. At some point, you just can't double that fast in complexity, doubling that much fast.
Do you feel this is the year that we're going to see a more complexity than we ever have saw with DI?
Absolutely, it's happening so quickly. I mean, we already are there. I ask questions just from chat. I use them the most, although I will be using others over time. And when you get into that, you realize the answers are so sophisticated when you ask a question. And the thing is, they're gonna ask us questions. They can read this whole book, our whole book, in a matter of seconds. And so the thing is, that ability to take in information and the ability to process that information and reprogram, we're talking about something that's just so far beyond what we can even we can't even comprehend how far it goes, because we humans, well, I don't even think DI can calculate how far it goes. I think it's going to be amazing even to their scope of understanding.
All right. Well, I'm excited uh, for where it's going. And every question that you ask leads to another question. And that's why each podcast, we've only chosen one question, Gary, but this is on for a reason. So people can listen to this short podcast and then start thinking about this more and saying, if I haven't been really investigating DI, I need to by reading your book. So where can people check this out?
Well, they can check it out on Gary Lyon Otto .net.
Yeah, .net. Yes.
Gary Lyon Otto, Lyon, Lyon, and get the book. I'll tell you what. The thing is, we want you to review the book. We want your input on what you think that this has actually added to the conversation. That's what we're really trying to do. We're trying to add to this conversation. And the thing is, I don't think a lot of people say, well, it's going to go too far. I'm afraid of it. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear in this world. And the people that really have an understanding of how far and how fast it's going, there's a lot of people that fear that. And the thing is, I think that we have to deal with that fear rather than say, well, let's just stop it. We can't stop it. It's unstoppable at this point.
It's unstoppable. That's for sure, Gary. Appreciate it. That was the special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and the Singularity Podcast.